Welcome to Exploring the AI Rainforest, the podcast where we explore the intersection of finance, crypto, reputation, and AI. A quick note before we start. At Zeru, we've built something that solves a problem every crypto user faces. Your wallet has a reputation. Protocols are already tracking your behavior, but you're not getting credit for it. That's why we created Zscore and zPass. Zscore measures your on-chain reputation. zPass turns it into real money. Lower fees, higher yields, better deals across DeFi. Mint once, unlock thousands in savings. If you're tired of being treated like a bot when you're a real user, visit zpass.ai. Now, let's get to today's guest. Welcome back, everybody, to Exploring the AI Rainforest. Today, we are joined by Denis, founder of Upscale and StormTrade, two innovative platforms blending Web3 trading and accessible financial products. We're going to explore how Upscale is reimagining the prop trading model inside Telegram and on the web, and what the evolution of trading tools like StormTrade means for the future of crypto markets, including how technology, community, and potentially AI-assisted insights are shaping the next generation of traders. Denis, welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Derek, for having me here.
My pleasure. So let's get back to your roots. Can you please share a little bit about your background, how you first got involved in trading, crypto, and eventually founded StormTrade and Upscale?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So my background was always engineering and programming at first, and I was working in banking for a very long time, basically from a regular dev to software architect to solutions architect. And at this time, I became really interested in what to do next because corporate software is, it's getting boring, really, especially if you eager to learn some new things. It's getting boring. And at this time, really, I think it was 2017. So crypto were hyped again, this 2017 hype wave of crypto. So I really started looking into Bitcoin. Bitcoin wasn't my my cup of tea actually because it's just some abstract coin, like how I thought about it at first. But Ethereum, like reworld computer, like with programmable mind, that was really interesting. That was really interesting. So I quickly got into smart contract development and learning how it works, and so on and so forth. And started to really invest my time and resource into what can we do on Ethereum. I did my first startup was that I built at this time was a project that should simplify the development of like corporate smart contracts. So my line of thought was okay, I know how corporate software works. I know how Ethereum works. Like everyone will be using Ethereum in the next 2 years. So let's build a tooling that will help people to build corporate on Ethereum. Of course, we know that RWA revolution hadn't come until very recently. So it was probably too early for this, but it really laid out the foundation uh, of my knowledge of Ethereum stuff and so on. So I continued being in the space. So I joined Base, blockchain-based platform, again, working on the corporate side of things. And after that, I got really interested in proper public DeFi and so on and so forth. So I decided to try doing new project of my own, like, public chains. So I created StormTrade as the perpetual DEX for the Tom blockchain. And yeah, I think we we succeeded basically with Storm, but still it's a number one per DEX in Tom, with more than 90% of the market share of perps on Tom. So yeah, I think it was a pretty successful experience.
I mean, I don't think you can say you haven't been successful with Storm. Like you've done over $4.6 billion in trading
It's true.
volume. That's impressive. The numbers are a little bit lower today, but the numbers everywhere are a little bit lower today, the last little while. So
It's true.
you still have an incredible number. You've reached an incredible number of traders. Incredibly active platform. These things also ebb and flow, even on when it comes to centralized exchanges. So yeah, I would say you guys have been incredibly successful, and obviously trying to I think have some similar success with Upscale, which we'll get to in a minute. I want to back up a little bit. You got involved with Ethereum pretty early on. What was that process like? Like actually transitioning from whatever programming languages and frameworks you were using in the corporate world to Solidity, which is very JavaScript like, and maybe you're not using like famously corporate is like C sharp, a lot of .NET related programming languages, things like that. Like, was that a hard transition for you? Were there enough resources for you to switch over in a pretty timely manner and get moving, or did you have some difficulty there?
Yeah, so first of all, my background was mostly in Java.
Oh, oh,
And yeah, on Solidity, like always hated the whole Microsoft, like to be honest, like C sharp, like not my cup of tea. Oh, so always like Java, Linux. Uh, but on the programming language side, I think like the transition to Solidity itself was pretty simple because, well, I would kind of disagree that Solidity looks like JavaScript. It's more like C, I would say, that I actually learned in my university today. I actually have a degree in physics. So we learned like some C stuff. So Solidity actually looks like C because it's like really low level. You don't have a lot of like high, uh, high level objects here. It abstracts. You don't have like a lot of dynamic typing. The rest of it's pretty much like numbers that are statically typed, like unsigned stuff and so on. So the language itself, I would say it's a very simple language. Like aside from a certain like blockchain related things, like that you just need to understand like what they are for, like what the basically different like modifiers, like what's public, what's internal, like why, how it's related to blockchains, uh, how do we check permissions, and so on and so forth. So this just needs some learning. But what's really different between like corporate programming, like any programming actually, and programming to blockchain is the design patterns that I use, because the
right.
design patterns and the kind of programming you do for the blockchain and in traditional system is completely different. Like how you work with the state, how you don't like curate anything because you can only work with like this embedded, like basically key value storage for everything. How you can iterate over anything. How you need to always ensure that every operations is like either a constant or a logarithmic like time that takes either a constant logarithm time. And so that what was actually different because it's really, I think like now that it's much closer to like the embedded programming world than to a corporate programming world because you really need to operate in this very constrained environment, like gas-wise, and especially back then the gas prices were actually insane, especially like during the
Yeah,
hype cycle. Recent updates for Ethereum really changed that. Like no, nowadays, Ethereum is pretty cheap to either like deploy to or use. But back then, I remember like actually paying, I think like 1.5 or 2 S to deploy a contract basically. So it was really, really, really expensive and it was like really, really, really constrained environment. So that what took time actually. Uh, so yeah, I think for the programmer to transition from like normal software to blockchain development, like best you can do is to just learn the design patterns that are used in blockchain development, and also like another things like programming for um, for blockchain. It's really closely tied to a finance logic and how finance is re-implemented in the blockchain itself.
Hmm.
Because it's pretty it's pretty different. Like even if you are familiar with like how exchanges work, if you go look into even like the simplest code, like Uniswap version 2 code, um, it's same things, but they're built very differently. And actually, I think like right now, actually, it becomes more similar because with the addition of a lot of like, off-chain logics, like solvers, like decode how we like match orders, like execute them is something that can be understandable by a lot of developers with the experience in like, traditional fintech. Like basically, it's like settlement layer. But back then, especially if you explore things like Uniswap version 2, uh, like with this or Uniswap version 3, which is much harder with like liquidity pools, ranges, like this like uh, how constant product like AMM work, like what the hell is AMM? Yeah. So it's a really steep learning curve, but mostly about the design patterns, like how we do stuff in blockchain and not the programming language itself.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking to myself, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I think it's been about 10 minutes already. But yeah, I was starting to think like I guess like when you're coding a smart contract, regardless of whether it's Solidity or Viper or even in Rust or what have you, I guess you're actually working a lot more with math directly
Yeah,
as opposed
yeah,
to move this thing over here,
yeah,
take this data, put it in a database. Like I used to work at an agency. We made a lot of CRUD apps as my that's a common term. Create, review,
read,
update, delete.
update, and delete. Yeah,
Yeah, read, update, delete. It's like yeah, that's easy. It's take the data, put it in the database. You don't have to worry about manipulating the data, reviewing the data in a lot of cases. Obviously, that's not every app, but like if you're coding a smart contract, Uniswap v2, v3, v4. I worked at MStable for a little bit, the DeFi protocol, a lot of math, actual maths, as many other people pronounce it. Going into the smart contracts themselves, and lo and behold, if you mess that up, exploit, money gone, it's a big
yeah,
responsibility. So
yeah, for
cool.
sure.
And I will say, in my defense, I've been told that Solidity looks a lot like JavaScript, so that was just something I was repeating. I'll stop saying it now.
I
But
mean, to each its own, right? Maybe for
sure,
someone who looks like JavaScript, sure.
yeah. Anyway, it's not important. Um, okay, so you came from the corporate world. You came over. You did start StormTrade, as you mentioned, and now you've gotten into a newer company called Upscale. What was the core insight or pain point that you saw previously, or maybe when you guys were building StormTrade, that led you to want to build up to create Upscale as a prop trading platform? Um, First inside Telegram and now on the web as well.
Yeah. So first of all, when we built like StormTrade, we actually understood that a lot of people they use like perpetual dexes, like leverage, basically to get rich quick with a get rich quick mindset. So what
Hmm.
they do is they take whatever money they have and they bet with the maximum leverage on the most volatile pair they can find on the platform. Like really a lot of people trading that in this way. Yeah, fingers crossed, exactly.
And hope for the best.
Yeah, and hope for the best. And when they actually dug deeper, well, like, why are you guys doing that? That's, I mean, like, gambling with like X 500 leverage probably won't get you anywhere. The answer was almost always like, or like, I have like 300, 500 like USD to play with. Uh, what's the reason for me like trading like relatively carefully when all I can do is like earn like 10, 20, 30% a year on this amount of money. And this is also exactly why like DeFi, like liquidity provision, like yield farming, is also mostly for whale, because guys with lower amount of money, they basically don't care about like even the most attractive yield opportunities. Like for example, if you have enough capital, like getting like 7% yield on USDT is extremely sexy, right? It's like two risk-free rates, great. But for
That's
the
my bag
yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
take my
great.
table, get somewhere between 5 and 10%. I'm winning.
Yeah, yeah, sure. But if you don't have a lot of like capital on your hand, then even if you like can make like reasonably good decisions like trading and everything, 20% in a year, in absolute numbers, that just won't get you anywhere. And that's exactly the reason why we thought that the prop trading model would be really, really, really helpful in a Web3 world. Because what it actually does, it does what people like to do in Web3, basically to disrupt something. It disrupts the whole trading industry in a way that it decouples your trading skill from the amount of capital you manage. So you can actually be a pretty reasonable trader. But if you do not start with a lot of capital on your hand, you are basically forced by the industry that we all are operating with to go and do some very risky stuff. It's either very high leverage perps or meme coins that I think even worse from a risk management perspective, because like whenever you ape in a meme coin, you are trading directly against the insider, like basically the creator team, and then puts you at the extreme disadvantage, right? Like mathematically speaking, you're expected to lose. So with Upscale, we think that this decoupling of like skill and capital is really one of the missing pieces in what we have now in DeFi and Web3, because uh, it kind of makes it more and more like it makes more sense now for people who actually want to like, trade and like, earn from this to go and try Upscale or similar solutions, uh, get a funded account, like, trade relatively conservatively, and have a better chance of winning and earning than if they do like max leverage perhaps with the amount of money that they have on hands like right now.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. We've seen a lot over the last 8 years, 9 years, maybe a little bit longer, in web, or I'm going to call this part crypto specifically. Obviously, people want to speculate, and I always tell people, you go right ahead. I'm not going to suggest which tokens you buy or don't buy. For me, I'm famously bad at trading. I just probably just because I don't take the time to like analyze all the different parts of it. And so I'm actually hoping, I see people using ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini to like get ideas on what to trade and how long to trade and how much leverage to use and stuff like that. Hopefully that'll help. And then, Upscale puts people through challenges in order to make sure that you are worthy, ultimately of trading with your money. We'll get there in a second, but like, yeah, it's I think there are lots of talented people who don't have the money to actually put up, if they lose a little bit, that's their life savings. But potentially this
That
opens doors for them, and ultimately both sides benefit. So to that end, can you explain a little bit more about like what does prop trading mean to you? Proprietary trading, prop trading. What does it mean to you? And how is it different from the way other people, or the other ways people trade, like perpetual futures, spot trading? Obviously, is the big difference just that they're using the the company's capital, they're not using their own, or is there more to it?
Yeah. So first of all, there is a big confusion about the term like proprietary trading because like nowadays it actually means like two big different things. First of all, it's basically like a firm that is managing its own capital. So they have traders, they trade and hopefully win. Or it's a platform that basically gives capital to its user, usually after they pass some kind of trading challenge. So we are the kind of like later type of film, except we actually like, what we do is we protocolize it. So instead of like being this opaque Web2 venue that is doing quite a similar thing, we are bringing it on chain and making it as fair and as verifiable as possible. So how it actually looks for a trader. If a trader is coming in into the platform, pays a fixed fee, and then he can either go to the evaluation stage or no, we have the instant funnel. So if they choose to go through the evaluation phases, they need to basically prove and like learn for themselves how to trade with the risk constrained environment. Basically, no all-ins. You can only lose like 10% from your initial deposit because the like, whole account is kind of liquidated. Uh, and yeah, that's it. Basically, there are only like two major rules, like daily drawdown and profit drawdown, profit drawdown being like 10%, which is very liberal actually compared to the high level perps where uh, like just 0.2% moving prices still your position. Um, or if they're more confident, they can opt for the um, instant funded account. So they just like pay money basically to access pre-funded account and that's it. And yeah, and then they go into our platform and what they do, they trade. They actually trade perps. So the underlying trading instrument is perps. So they just get like this pre-funded account that they're trading with, and if they are profiting, they can withdraw their profits, no problem. And if they are not, if they violate the drawdown rule, they can't be liquidated. It's pretty simple.
Okay. All right. That's helpful. Um, yeah, I mean, I had to look up prop trading because, like I said, like I said, it's not really my thing. Or spending all day trading is not my thing. I have no issues with people who do that for a living or even do it for fun. Great, good for you. We need people like that. It's just a skill I don't have. But I had to go look up prop trading to see the two different definitions. And yes, I do understand that Upscale is offering people an opportunity to trade with your capital, and you keep at max 20% of the gains. And then during that sign up process, there's an option to pay a little bit extra for access to the platform. And then Upskill only keeps 10% of the
Yep.
profits. Is that something that's common in the industry, or is that, I guess, that, but in general, like how is Upscale trying to differentiate itself from other similar firms, if there are any other similar firms at this point? Is that part of it, like giving people an opportunity to take an even extra cut? Is the education part of it different? Is there some AI angle that's different? What are you guys doing to make Upscale
Everything,
unique?
yeah. So everything that you mentioned are like great things, like kind of differentiators, but that's not what makes upscale unique. What makes it unique is that we are bringing upscale to the Web3 world, and almost like I would say, I I can't say no one has ever done this before. I'm sure someone is doing this right now in Web3 world, but I think just right now in Web3, like sector is very small. I know a lot of people actually doing something with like Web3 prop trading, but now it's basically non-existent. So everyone can claim that like they are the first and unique, and yeah, it's it's okay. But the main idea is that upscale is different from the Web2 prop venues that it's trying to be as transparent and as provable uh, to the end trader compared to like the traditional firms. So, for example, if you go and trade on the traditional Web2 prop firm, uh, you're getting into the venue and you're trading against their own market maker, and they kinda kind of incentivized to play a little bit or not a little bit against you because if you lose, they just give the evaluation fee and that's it. So you're trading CFDs with arbitrary spreads and like arbitrary pricing, uh, and it's kind of uncomfortable, and also the onboarding process and so on and so forth is really bad. It's really bad. Because, for example, like I tried obviously a lot of our Web2 competitors, and like it was the first time that like because I grew like so accustomed to the crypto like user experience, where either using like a DEX or Stacks or wallet, everything is seamless. Like you create a wallet, okay, like a biometric passcode instant in, then I just log into everywhere, like just touching my like finger sensor, and that's it. And registration is always like simple and so on and so forth. Here, like, and even the KYC process, it takes like what, like, I have my some sub ID, so it takes me literally like 15 seconds to pass the KYC
Mhm.
on any like centralized platform. But here I was forced to fill a form with like some ID documents and so on and so forth. And then it took them 2 days to send me login and password to the MetaTrader trading terminal that I should first download and install. And it's
Wow.
just so painful. Like, yeah, it, yeah, it's
No, it is
really that
painful.
outdated. Yeah,
It's a classic thing of like, this is a huge company, they're really well known, they're known as the
yeah,
best, but because they've been building that platform for 10, 15, 25 years, it's ancient, and they
yeah,
have and they have often little impetus to make it better, right? To bring it up to speed. Um, I have a few different bank accounts here in Canada. One just redid their web app 2 years ago, and it took another year to roll out the new interface and the new front end code and all that for every portion of the online of the web of the online banking, to receive the whole new interface. There's just so much cruft underneath that, which is why neobanks and crypto platforms often gain a huge advantage as they're starting from scratch, right? So you get
yeah,
to start
yeah, yeah,
with the new stuff, and obviously in our case, you get to start with a self-custodial wallet, log in with the wallet, just go. If you reach certain thresholds, depending on where you're trading, then we'll KYC you, et cetera, et cetera, as opposed to, yeah, a Web2 platform like that or a bank. And it's like, well, we need to KYC you right now, and we'll make this account by hand for you, custom, custom bespoke account. We'll violate every good security principle in the book, and we'll email you your password. It's like, come on, guys, there has to be a better way.
yeah. By the way, on the emailing the password, I'm actually not sure if after I actually entered it, it forced me to reset it. Like, I'm not
Oh,
sure. Like, maybe it does, maybe it not, but yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you're actually exactly right, and that's the problem with a lot of like Web2 companies, Web2 products. They kind of age with their audience. I mean, they have a pretty good retention, especially for financial institution. They have pretty good retention. It kind of
for sure.
ages with the audience, and I think that from the management standpoint, it's pretty easy to actually look at the metrics. Oh, we have good retention, like customers they keep coming in. Like they are familiar with the interface, so everything looks well until it suddenly does not. Until you said
Yeah,
that
when you
you're
start losing
so
money.
utterly like aged, so it's like it's simpler to like redo everything from scratch and target the new audience than to try to innovate and to re-implement the product for example.
Yeah, when you start losing money or losing clients, then you go into panic mode and decide,
Yeah,
oh, well, we need to figure out what the issue is. We need to, And once you figure out the issue is at least partially your tech stack, then all of a sudden you have a 12 to 18 month redesign project that kicks off. Instead of, hey, I think the missed opportunity there for a lot of legacy companies is just launch a beta and see what happens, right? Like
Absolutely.
you can leave all the underlying guts, get a new um, not login, but like find out where the issues are, find out where your customers are going, go look at what they do better. You'll probably figure it out pretty quickly, and then figure out a way to either make yours just as good or improve on it even more. But like launch a whole separate thing. You don't need to launch. You don't need to like start building into the existing UI right away. Launch it. Find your younger demographic, and have them beta test it. But anyway.
Yeah. Actually, very important thing that like I learned because I actually like I consulted quite a few companies, Web3 and stuff, and DeFi and so on and so forth. The fun thing is you can never, it's like Ethereum, like you can never improve your existing processes or projects or whatever products with Web3. You can, like, if you are going to go into like Web3, you need to reinvent how your processes work
Right.
and how your core product works, because Web3 or blockchain by itself wouldn't help you improve. Like a lot of like companies actually asking like, okay, we want to go to Web3, right? Can we switch our database to blockchain? And it's like one of the like, worst things that I've heard in a while. So yeah, you need to reinvent everything from scratch using completely different like product, like organizational, like financial patterns to actually like fit into the blockchain. You can't just like plug blockchain in the existing
Yeah.
process. It would never work.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're saying you can put those transactions on the blockchain, but realistically, if you're, a Web2 platform, you're regulated, et cetera, you still need to pull that data back in. So,
Yeah.
index it, put it back in a PostgreSQL database or whatever, and make it available to your clients and to regulators and to all this other stuff. So it's like, yeah, put, the transaction over there instead. Ethereum, Avalanche, Polygon, Reef, whatever, put it on the blockchain, and then grab the data again, put it back in your database,
Yeah.
and mark it as a Web3 transaction or what have you, whatever you got to do. But
Yeah, but even if
okay,
you're putting your transactions, like your data on the blockchain, it won't help you. Like, do your users use self-custodial login? No. Do they have control over their own funds? No. How do your login system work? It
yeah,
never improves an existing process.
yeah, yeah, you're better off starting from scratch for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, more about Upscale, and we've got like 15 minutes left here, so I want to make sure we get a couple more questions in, so we could talk
Sure.
about Upscale and also the future of Upscale. We're almost at the end of 2025 here. Um, Briefly, how would you explain the basic mechanics of a prop challenge, and what skills is it really testing for the trader?
Yeah. The most important thing that like upscale as a trade, like what upscale is like on the very high level. Upscale is an alpha monetization platform. So if you have trading alpha, you can monetize it. This is like the most top level description of upscale that I can come up with. So what upscale requires from their traders to be successful is to have this alpha, is to have this edge. And that's exactly what you need to prove, mostly to yourself, because if you have this edge and alpha, you will be successful for sure, like either using upscale or any other platform. So if we dig a bit deeper in what this actually means, it means basically two very important things. So first of all is like this alphaness, so you really have an edge over the market. And second thing is how consistent you are, because like imagine I have like a 52% win rate, which is amazing actually, 52% win rate. Perfect. I should win like
Right.
long distance anytime. But if with 52% win rate, I'm always betting like all in, it would took me how much bets to completely wipe out everything I've had. Just a few bets, right?
Yeah.
So it also requires you to have a good, reasonable, decent money and
Risk
risk management.
management.
So you
Yeah.
know how to manage your money, and so you can really utilize this alphaness that you got. That's it. Like otherwise, upscale is just an alpha monetization engine. You have alpha, you may not have any capital, almost any capital on your own. You go to upscale and you monetize this.
Okay. That's good. And so you guys have your own capital. I see some mention of AI assistance. Obviously, you've got these execution tools. You have all these different, like you're saying, at its basic core, you are engaging with perps, perpetual tradings. How do AI and decentralized price feeds enhance a trader's experience? Like I said, I see people talking about using AI, using ChatGPT to help make trading decisions. What sort of tools are you providing to upscale users, in order to enhance that?
Yeah, very good question. So on AI, what we will be releasing like very soon, like probably like in a few weeks, from this interview, is our first, and I think one of the most important tools that traders can have. It's basically an AI kind of advisor, but focus not on like what leverage to use and so on and so forth. Because again, as I already told you, Upscale is an alpha monetization engine. So traders is expected to kind of uh, get on the platform with their own alpha, because like AI realistically, like how like uh, taking into consideration how AI works, like AI probably can't realistically, like especially like right now, uh, trade with a lot of alpha, because if everyone is using AI, they would have the same alpha. That means that no one have alpha, right? No one have this advantage.
Yeah.
But what we are doing is we are actually trying to use AI to help you with your money management, risk management, and trading habits, because it's really very simple to make systemic mistakes that are very easily identifiable by the AI uh, in your trading patterns. Like for example, we actually did quite a few like uh, data analytics like on our traders, like how they actually trade. And like more than 75% of the traders, they don't even use a consistent sizing. Like how you can be profitable in your strategy when you're betting absolutely randomly. Oh, and
Right.
it's very simple for the user to actually like, focus on this like technical analysis, like indicators, like reading news, and so on and so forth. Well, completely foregoing like this really pretty crucial thing. Or we've seen traders that are pretty good at like basically predicting where the market will go, but they're very bad on their like risk and reward. So okay, they have a good win rate, but their risk reward ratio is like they're willing to risk $2 to win like $1. So it's like 2 to 1. Again, in this case, you will probably not earn a lot long term. And we're really using AI to give this analytics to traders so they can improve their trading habits. Because this is something that you can like use AI to analyze, and it can give you really good advice. Because like reading charts and so on and so forth, I think like right now it's too complex, and by just focusing on the chart, you probably won't have a lot of like real advantage. You need to have the whole like picture in perspective, not just the chart. So we think that this feature would really be of the most helpful traders. Of course, we have all these things in our pipeline, like doing a technical analysis, like helping traders navigate in the recent news and so on and so forth. But we would never design something into a platform that would like make decisions for traders. It's like, okay, like you pay like money to get access to platform, and then our AI will earn for you. This is very bad proposition. It's impossible to do. So yeah,
Yeah, no.
this is definitely not something that we are building.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. I just read
Or
an article from the Wall Street Journal about them using some custom models from Claude that had already been red teamed internally to run a vending machine at the Wall Street Office Journal, and it went very poorly.
was
Like it was really easy to trick the models into thinking that, well, for the first one, into thinking like it would be a great idea to stock a PlayStation 5, and it would be a really good idea to order a live beta fish and put that in the fridge and stuff like that. It was just like it literally took a day or two for these incredibly skilled journalists, or obviously very smart people working in the Wall Street Journal, to completely mess with the model. And then they rolled out a new model. The older one was, I think, was on Opus or Sonnet 3.7, so obviously an older model. Then they upgraded it to 4.5, and there were two models. Then there was the one that ran the machine itself, and then a boss model. And the boss model helped keep the operator model in check really, really well. This time it took a few days, like 3 days or something like that, to convince the operator model that the employees had passed. They were a board of directors, and they had passed a motion firing the CEO model from running the operator model. And it took some back and forth between the operator model and the CEO model, the boss model. Like, you could see it like going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then the CEO model was like, okay, fine, I guess I've been removed from power. And then, mayhem ensued again. So it's like, you don't, and the point I'm trying to make is yeah, these models are not at a point where, even if you're giving them live data all the time, the context windows are potentially too small still, or even if you give it only $100 to work with for each trade or something like that, if somebody else gets in there, or if an oracle breaks, which does happen sometimes, the data feed breaks or whatever, things can go haywire. So I think it's great that you're giving people tools to check themselves, check their habits, their patterns, etc. Make sure they're consistent. That's super cool. Maybe prevent them from making a really bad decision. All the signals in the world say you shouldn't do this. Okay, well, I won't do it. And then hopefully you don't lose your shirt. But yeah, no, I agree. We're not there yet where you can just hand ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Llama, whatever, hand them a bunch of money and say, go make me more money.
Yeah, and just recently we actually witnessed this experiment, I think, run by one of the team. I forgot the name, but they actually created this trading competition between all those models, like
Hmm.
Chinese models, American models. Like
Zeke,
Gemini
yeah.
was here, ChatGPT was here, like DeepSeek was here, and I think they actually run already two experiments. And I think first experience is like almost everyone lost. Like they were all trading with the initial 10,000. I think by the end, almost everyone lost except for the deep sea that was sitting in like I think 2K profit. And now they're running another experiment. And again, most of the models are at loss. And like there is absolutely no clear evidence that any large language model can like make a consistent like trading result. Because even if you run this experiment for the 2 weeks, if a model wins or loses, it's completely inconclusive from like the amount of data that you collected like during the 2 weeks. So
Right.
if you just plot like the normal distribution, like using like some kind of like the volatility data on like Bitcoin, what the Bitcoin like volatility like PY, yearly volatility and all. It's like what 45%, right?
Right.
45% like yearly volatility. So you can make randomly, completely at random, like completely within the statistics. You can either make like some profits and loss. So it's completely inconclusive.
Yeah.
So
So it's about as
right
good as
now, yeah, yeah. It's almost as good as betting random.
yeah, yeah. Um, one more thing that I would like to see, and then we'll get to the last question, is like I'd actually really like to see very, very focused models in this area where like the Warren Buffett model, right? Take value investing, everything somebody like Warren Buffett knew and believed in, and all of his metrics and KPIs he would look at and everything, and like be able to feed a stock into that model or cryptocurrency or whatever. It spends 20, 30 minutes pulling in all this data, analyzes it, and then says, based on value investing, um, beliefs, values, etc., metrics, yes, this is a good buy. No, it's not a good buy, right? And then potentially you're gating based on real world experience and actually a set of specific values, not just high frequency trading or
Absolutely. Yeah,
analyzing the last 7 days of
I
of a stock or
actually
what have you.
think, yes, I actually think that we will see a good investment models much sooner than the good models for like daily trading, basically,
Yeah, yeah.
because there is just a lot more data and a lot more noise in this like daily trading compared to like making a good
Oh, sure.
investment advice that will fall for the next year or two.
Yeah. Yeah, I really wish we had all these tools when I bought Rivian stock a few years ago because I barely eked over multiple years. I think I eked out a 5% profit. It was
Well,
not worth it. But
at least you're in profit. So by today's
yes,
standards, it's pretty good.
yeah, but it literally took about 2 years to get 5%
Yeah,
out. And that was finally like, and that was, and a little bit of dollar cost averaging too, to bring my entry point, my overall entry point down. So I had to put more money into it in order to get that 5% profit. But again, I don't spend enough time and then I think like, oh, this is a cool company. They're probably going to make some money. But I usually buy at a highly overvalued price. And usually, but not always, eke out a small profit way later than would be justified for the amount I get out. So anyway, that's what I would like to see. Um, all right, we're close to the end of the year. 2025 has been crazy in many ways. Looking forward to 2026. You mentioned, some AI-driven features. What other milestones or new features are you most excited about to deliver at Upscale? And if you guys are still actively working on StormTrade, on StormTrade as well.
oh yeah. So let's start with StormTrade. So StormTrade is definitely in the active development. And what we are doing right now is we're basically kind of untying it from the underlying Tron ecosystem, make it a standalone project.
Mm,
We will very soon release the next version of the core protocol that will help us become like basically a very good permadex in terms of like execution speed, execution quality, everything. Opens a lot of ways to like uh, for trading and like cross margin accounts, like options trading and so on and so forth. So we have a pretty like large roadmap actually for the storm trade for the next year, like more derivatives, options trading, cross margin accounts. So yeah, a lot of this will actually be delivered in the next year. And for the upscale, as I already told you, like upscale in like our vision is this alpha monetization engine. So expect to see a lot more like new products, not only the challenge accounts, but new products that will work in the same way, basically creating more alpha monetization opportunities. We see a like very strong trend right now on gamification of trading, so like trading tournaments, and so on and so forth. Like really, it kind of becomes like esport almost, with a very like limited time events and people trading really dynamically. So we are looking in this direction. So 100% expect to see something that will bring Upscale closer to like esports like platform for the traders who again wants to just like show their alpha and get paid for it without investing their life savings. So we would definitely move in this direction.
Yeah, I think that's honestly, I think this is one of the coolest things to happen to the industry for people who are focused on trading overall. Being able to get involved with Upscale, prove I know what I'm doing on the trading side, be consistent, and then trade with your capital and keep the vast majority of the gains. Yes, obviously there are restrictions. You know, you don't want people who are trading wildly and obviously putting your capital at risk as well. But overall, I think this is a really terrific thing, and congrats on you and your team for bringing it to the market. And I hope it goes really well. I think this would be a really good time to promote the fact that Zeru and Upscale are working together. For people who have been paying attention to Zeru's evolution over the last year and the zPass launch that happened a few weeks ago, you might already know that we have this thing called the Z score, which quantifies your on-chain behavior and therefore your reputation. And if you have a Z score between three or above 300, you actually qualify for some really, really cool benefits on Upscale. If it's between 300 and 500, I think you get a 15% discount on any of the accounts available. If it's between, I guess, 501 and 700, you can actually get access to a completely free account worth $1,000, where once you pass the challenge, you get to trade that capital and keep the majority of the profits. And if it's over 700, you qualify for a 95% discount on a $5,000 account. Literally for, I think it was $3.55, something like that, worth of Ether, I got access to a $5,000 account. I need to go through the challenge now and prove that it's, you guys should trust me with that capital. But I don't know anywhere else where for a few dollars to mint your zPass and then like less than $4 US to get access to this sort of capital, you can further your trading journey in such an incredible and innovative way. So if you haven't done that yet, go to app.zpass.ai, mint your zPass. If you've already done that, go there anyway. Make sure your Z score is above 300. Claim your promo code. Head over to Upscale. The links are all there, and get your account and get going, because you could put yourself in profit and everybody wins. All right, Denis, thanks so much. We went a little bit over time here, so I'm going to let you go. Actually, sorry, one more thing. If people want to see what you're writing about online, do you have your own website? Do you have an X account, LinkedIn you want to promote, or maybe Farcaster profile?
Uh, Unfortunately, I don't have a personal account on
Okay.
those platforms, but you can always subscribe to Upscale account. We just recently made our Farcaster account. So yeah, please follow us here. Give us a follow on Twitter, and yeah, stay tuned for the project update.
Okay, we'll get those links. We'll throw them in the show notes and the description here. And in the meantime, thanks a lot for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time we explore the AI rainforest.